Hey everybody, Dave Weiss here for the Glue Bomb Show. Today I've got a review for you on the Atlantis King Chopper. This is a 1/8 scale kit, so it is huge. And I think it came out pretty nicely. Now I got this as a bagged kit from Atlantis. Evidently they stopped the production run on it. And so unfortunately I don't think we're going to see this one out too much longer. So if you like it, you'll need to try to pick one up before they go away. It's really a pretty cool kit overall. Now, it's not without its struggles. There were a few struggles. There's one point in here where I thought maybe I was going to do something I've never done before and launch it against a wall. I'm not going to lie. And mainly, I think it was a me problem. But we'll see. See that nice, beautiful engine underneath there? That engine is completely chrome. Everything about it except like 2 or 3 parts is chrome. And I had it in. I finished it up. You saw that in a previous video. I put it in, and it was sitting in there nicely, had everything glued up. And then I thought, wisdom says I should let this sit and dry. And I did. I let that step dry. The engine and the gearbox went in. But then I had to go in and put in the chain, the rear axle, and all the other stuff that makes it able to run, right? It makes it able to drive. And when I started to put those parts in, I broke the engine and the gearbox loose. And it took me a little while to get them to set up in the first place, so I was really a little upset with myself. But here's what I learned. You kind of have to do those 2 steps at basically the same time. You put the engine in, the gearbox in, you get that to line up. Maybe let it set up a little bit, but not completely. And then you put the chain and the rest of the stuff in there, and the rear axle, and then you let it dry. Because that way, you have to flex things around a little bit to get it under there properly, or at least I did. Again, could be me. But what I found is if you do that whole assembly at the same time, you can move things around a little bit, get everything to shift into place. I found it worked better. You may have different results, but that's what I found. I love this buzzard. He came out really cool. And what I did with him is I painted his feathers with a semi-gloss black, but then I went over it and dry brushed a very thin coat of white acrylic over the top, which kind of grayed him out a little bit, and it made some of those details of the feathers stand out. I think he looks really good. I put the head was done in a tester's, I can't remember the name of the color off the top of my head. I use it as the flesh color for all my Silly Surfers and stuff like that. It's the same color. And then, of course, the beak is done in an oh goodness, kind of a yellowish. It's the color they use on the interior of certain planes. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but I think most of you will probably know the one. It's just kind of an off yellow, kind of a dirty yellow look, and I really liked it. And then I did a burnt umber wash over all those, the head and the beak, and then just dropped in the pupils and the nostrils with a darker color to make them stand out. And he basically just sits on there. I do have him glued in place, but the glue didn't quite line up the way I thought it would, but I think he ends up really good, and his tail keeps him in place. As you can see, I think it built up really nicely. Now, there's a couple things. Again, there's a lot of chrome on here, and the chrome, of course, you got to do a lot of scraping, but that's okay. Other than that, make sure that when you put the body on, you put the back end in and then move it front so it glues up into that tank. There's a little pin on a hole in the tank, and you put the pin in there. But you have to have it lined up in the back really well to get that to fit. I had to hold it for a little while to get it in place, but it's staying now, and I really like how it looks. You might notice I didn't wire or plumb it, and there's a reason for that. The tubing that they gave, in my opinion, was just a little bit too large. It wasn't really, I don't think, to scale. And the other thing is the hole in the end of the tube was actually bigger than the pins, so it kept sliding off. I finally just decided that for now I'm going to table that, and we'll see where it goes as I move along. What I may end up doing is looking for some smaller tubing. But honestly, I know it's huge scale, and I know it's 1/8 scale, and I know I probably should do it, but it looks pretty good without it. I may not even do it. Now, this was a bagged kit that I got from Atlantis again, and it did not come with the decals. And I'm okay with that. There really weren't that many decals anyway, but I had a thought, and I'm still messing around with whether or not I want to do this. I am a big fan of the band Rush. I really enjoy their music. And one of my favorite albums of theirs is called A Farewell to Kings. Now, on some of the merchandise for A Farewell to Kings, they had this thing of a skull with a crown on it. And I thought, how cool would it be to put it in that panel back there? Because it's already called the King Chopper. It's already got a skull in the sissy bar back there. It's got a vulture sitting on it, for goodness sake. Maybe I should do that. So I thought about, and I designed some decals with that skull and crown for on the back. I decided to do it in black so that it would just be very subtle on there. I made a license plate that says farewell, as in farewell to Kings. And then I made up some Rush logos for the tank. I'm not sure I'm going to do it yet because I really kind of like it just the way it is. But we'll see. This was a fun kit, and that's good because model building's supposed to be fun. Like I say, it was not without its issues, but truthfully, sometimes we have to flex with these things, right? Like when I put that engine in and I put and glued everything in place and let the glue dry, that is common accepted practice for building a model. But occasionally, you need to have a little more flexibility to make things work. So, my advice to you is when you find something and it's not fitting together real well, and there's a couple more steps ahead, try to do the next steps. This is the second time now in something I've been working on that it was the next step that made everything go together. So sometimes when you're really getting frustrated with something, instead of throwing it against the wall, which again I thought about doing at one point, just go ahead and try the next step. Try to get it all to work together. Sometimes that's the key. All right, guys, that's all I have for you for today. Take care. God bless. And remember, model building's supposed to be fun. The King Chopper 2 from Atlantis is a lot of fun. Take care.